Hi, I'm Chris. This is Finding God at Work. Just a reminder that Finding God at Work isn't just a podcast, it's also an online course. Check it out at findinggodatwork.org. Our current series is Meaningful Work, Calling, Formation, Service, and Love. And today we have a special guest with us, Zack Wilson. He works in IT and the healthcare industry, and he is also one of the founding members of a group called Link Kalamazoo. He's going to tell a little bit of that story on today's podcast. And Zack and I have known each other for almost 30 years since we went to the same school growing up. So 5-year-old Chris and Zack were hanging around playing soccer at some point, probably. But Zack, it's so great to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me here, Chris. I'm excited to tell everybody about Link Kalamazoo.
Awesome. So before we dig in, I usually just like asking the question, what helps you find God at work? What helps you welcome God's presence on a normal work day?
Yeah, on a typical work day, I'd say the main thing is actually from our second grade class, we memorized Colossians 3:23, and whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord and not for men. And keeping that in mind can really get you through those tough moments when maybe you're not happy with the work that you need to do or under stress, just remembering that I'm doing all of this for the Lord and it represents the Lord to the people around me, because many of my coworkers know that I'm a Christian. So the attitude that I bring into the workday is incredibly important.
Yeah, that's great. I love that little plug for just keeping a verse with you. You know, memorization doesn't have to be this big, complicated thing, and how that can renew your focus. I remember in second grade, it was Mrs. Mitchell, and her theme for the year was frogs. She had lots of frogs. Yes, green frogs,
fully
rainforest
rely on
frogs.
God.
Yeah, and it was an acronym. Yeah, fully rely on God. It was like a cheesy evangelical, but hey, we still remember it. So
crazy. It's hard to remember a lot of things in a lot of verses, but that one is locked in for life.
yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to spend most of our time talking about Link Kalamazoo. In this series, we're talking about calling, formation, service, and love. And part of service, part of how we love our neighbors, is promoting the common good, promoting the flourishing of the whole community that we're in. And Link Kalamazoo really does have that focus of the whole city of Kalamazoo, the whole community. So I would just love to hear, how did you first kind of find your way into thinking about something like this for the city of Kalamazoo?
Yeah, that's it's gonna be a bit of a long-winded story, but hope
That's
you
great.
all will stick with me on it. So I moved to Kalamazoo in 2020, in March of 2020, actually, and it's right when the pandemic started. So I didn't really know anyone here. I couldn't go to church because all the churches were shut down. So I spent a lot of time just walking around town, going to parks, and praying over Kalamazoo, protecting us from, COVID and things like that. And as I just prayed, walking around the city, I started to really feel God's heart for Kalamazoo, and why couldn't something great happen here? Why couldn't we see God's presence break through in a unique way in Kalamazoo? And it just really like marinated over the course of probably 6 months while I didn't really have any friends or community here. And then in 2020, summer of 2021, I was just downtown. There's like food truck Fridays, they call them. And I was there. This one guy just commented on the jersey that I was wearing, and it sparked a conversation. And talked with him for a little bit, told him I recently moved to Kalamazoo and that I love it here. And he was really intrigued, wanted to know why I loved it, coming from Chicago and Grand Rapids. Why did I like small town Kalamazoo? And I just explained a few things to him, and sparked a friendship, which I was not really expecting from that conversation, but we connected, shared information. I found out later that that man was the mayor of Kalamazoo for 12 years. And so I didn't expect any sort of follow-up or anything, but he did, like the next day, invited me to an event that was going on downtown. and we built a friendship. His name's Bobby. He's a great friend of mine and huge supporter of Link Kalamazoo. He's really the one that started it all. He's connected to everybody in the community. So I'll skip over a few things. We did like some trial runs basically, but they didn't become consistent until 2024. And he brought a handful of young professionals together to say, we need to start something for the young people in Kalamazoo because we need people to stay here. We want people to see that their future is in Kalamazoo. We met over a span of many months and strategized like, what do we really need? What's the aim of all of this? Um, and we boiled it down to a few different circles of questions that people are trying to answer for themselves. So for a lot of college students and young professionals, it's where's my future?
Hmm.
And we want people to think that their future can be here in Kalamazoo. Second thing is, which is crucially important, is where are my people?
Hmm.
And then the last is how can I make an impact in the community? And so we boiled it down to those things and said, how do we create a space where those questions are being answered for people, where they can see their future can be here in Kalamazoo. There's unique events going on. There's plenty of job opportunities. There's like great people that you can meet. And then lastly, making an impact in the community. One of the advantages we have being a smaller city, for those listening, it's Kalamazoo itself is 75,000 people, and then the metro is about 250,000. And the difference you can make here is you can actually join a board of a nonprofit or be on a city commission position with the city. Um, and it's less competitive for those things. So you can actually find those opportunities at a young age. Like for myself, I serve on our city's planning commission as a result of learning all this stuff. So anyway, the analogy we use is like Kalamazoo is like a speedboat,
Hmm.
whereas a place like Chicago would be a cruise ship. Whereas we can make a lot of change and adapt pretty quickly as a community because we're smaller. So let's use that to our advantage.
Yeah, yeah. I love that vision of the speedboat.
Hmm.
Like a smaller city is a more nimble city. There's more opportunity for younger people to step into roles of influence. And it sounds like Link has brought a lot of those younger people together. What have your gatherings looked like? Like what is a Link event and who comes to it?
Yeah, and I'll also I realized I never finished answering the how it started, so I'll do that too. So we formally started in July of 2024. We had no money, no sponsor, no backer. So we paid for this out of our own pockets and bought Costco burgers and hot dogs and really basic food and just invited everybody we knew, sent out a mass email, texted friends, said, hey, meet at this place and we'll hang out. And that first night, we had at least 60 people just show up, hang out, build connections, new people meeting each other, and started to formalize over time. So now we're a little over a year in, and we regularly have between 100 and 150 people show up to our events. We have an email list of about 1,000 people that we email out each time. As for what a typical event looks like, we usually will have food and drinks will be in a unique location downtown. So we want to show people that there's spaces that they might not be aware of in downtown Kalamazoo, the heart of our city. And we will make it a unique feel. So for example, this upcoming Thursday, actually, we are turning a like alley into a beer garden, and we will have
Cool.
turf, string lights, a beer vendor, and then we'll have some food trucks that we'll put in the alley as well. We'll have a live artist playing. So we bring all these things to make it a unique experience. And then we always have what we call speed networking, and it's just quick questions. They're icebreaker kind of questions. We have different games or ways for people to interact with new people each time as they do those. So there's actually been people have brought up how they've built new friendships because of this, and it's actually
Yeah.
people's favorite part of the events, which I find comical just because I can think of those things as like, oh, they're making us do this thing, but
Yeah,
for a lot of
scripted
people,
icebreakers, etc. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we really value it. And then the final part is really the purpose, right? Why are we coming together? So we'll have a different speaker or activity that we do together. So for this next event, we're having our city commission candidates come and actually share what they see for the future of Kalamazoo. So people are going to be voting in November for who they want on the city commission. It's really important for our young professionals to be aware of what are these different candidates about because we have 20 of them. And so we want to build that closeness where you can actually interact with these people and ask them questions because they're going to help direct the future of Kalamazoo as well.
Yeah, yeah. Thinking about the awkwardness of the icebreakers, maybe, but people loving it.
Hmm.
It feels like that's that people piece, right? Finding your
Yeah,
people, and that's so huge when you're getting started in a community or in a career. I could
yeah.
definitely see how that would be people's takeaway, but those other pieces too, that kind of like Kalamazoo can be my place. Thinking about my future as having a place here, and then the sense of purpose. How can I make an impact?
Hmm.
What are you most excited about in terms of that impact piece? Kind of look, and you can draw on your planning commission experience too, if
Hmm.
that's helpful. But looking at Kalamazoo in the next few years, what are you most excited about?
There's a lot of different things. So, one is that seeing these different organizations that all care about Kalamazoo work together for the overall good is something that has come out of Link. It's
Hmm.
intentional in our name that we're constantly working with these different organizations in the community to make something bigger than we ever thought possible happen. For example, actually, right now we're in the middle of what we're calling 269 week.
Mm.
That's the area code for Kalamazoo and surrounding cities. And we have partnered with several different organizations in the community and businesses to actually throw over a week's worth of events for the city. And we've created a separate social media page that's communicating out like the 15 different things that are going on this week in ways that people can get involved. So common critique we hear about Kalamazoo is nothing's happening. So
Mm.
we worked with all these different people that are doing things, and we made a comprehensive list for people to see. This is what's going on. Let's be a part of it. So I'm really excited to see where that goes from here because we're going to have that be an annual festival for celebrating Kalamazoo and coming together as a community. That's like one thing I'm really excited to see. I'm excited to see Link continue to grow. We have a vision to see over 1,000 people at our events because we estimate there's about 20,000 people that might fit in our bucket of young
Hmm.
professional in the area. So we're saying 1,000 should not be too crazy of a target for people to be connecting. And the last thing that I'm really excited to see though is we have our city's 10 years master plan coming up. And already as young professionals, we've been able to meet with the group that creates that 10-year master plan. And we've given our feedback as young professionals by doing a brainstorming session with them and providing like a curated list of all that feedback. So now that I'm on our city's planning commission, I'll be voting on that 10-year plan as someone who's representing young professionals. So we're really just at the beginning point, and it's well timed to actually see the things that we want to see in the city will start to happen over the next 10 years.
Yeah, yeah. I bet there's a lot of municipalities in the nation, like similar, like small-sized cities, that wish they had a link for their city. You know,
Hmm.
that wish they had that kind of engaged young professionals, not just thinking about themselves, but thinking about the city and the city long term and how to make it what it's meant to be.
Yeah,
That's really inspiring. Maybe listeners on this podcast will be inspired to start something like this in their city if it doesn't exist. Uh,
it doesn't
one
take much to make a difference too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you guys had $0 in 2024 and a vision,
Hmm.
and all of this has happened since then.
Right.
That's incredible. Uh, One final question. So, Link itself is not like an explicitly Christian organization, but obviously your faith is part of how you think about contributing to the common good. How would you talk about that relationship? Like, how does your faith intersect with the work that you're doing with Link, with the Planning Commission, and in other ways?
Mhm. As I mentioned earlier, when I was prayer walking around Kalamazoo, I couldn't help but feel God's passion for the city. I've always been minded that way of wanting to transform communities. And I think it comes from the Great Commission. The first word of that is to go. And when I get to go to Link in our events, I'm in a group of people that I would not see at the church in my week to week basis. It looks very different from any category you want to pick as far as uh, race, political views, economic status, priorities and values in life. It's a whole different group of people that I get to connect with. And that's the example I see Jesus setting when he is ministering to people on the earth, is he's connecting with people very different than himself, and he's meeting everyone where they're at. So for me, it's always exciting to meet the many different people that come to Link, and I learn a lot from them and from their life experiences as well. I just think that Christians should be the most passionate people on earth about transforming their communities, because we believe people are inherently valuable and created by God, and we have purpose and meaning when we get to participate in God's redemptive plan. So I don't see how our communities are not part of that and wanting to make them a place of thriving and flourishing.
Amen. Amen. Well, I wish we could keep talking, but I think we'd better wrap up. We're trying to keep our commute length podcast to a commute length. But Zach, would you be willing to just close in prayer for our listeners, maybe anybody who's been inspired to think about their city, just hearing this story, and for all of us that we would lean into what God's calling us to?
Absolutely, I'd love to. Jesus, we just welcome your presence into this place, wherever everyone is at right now, as they're commuting to and from work or working out in the gym or wherever they might be right now. God, I pray that you would just speak to people's hearts of what you've created them to do. I know that every single one of us is created to make an impact in some way. And I pray that you would give people hope and drive to realize it doesn't take much to make a big difference, and that they can start with what they have in their hands. So God, I thank you for just the fact that you are still moving today. You want to move through people, and all you're looking for is someone to say yes. So I pray for people on this call that are just open-handed to you and want to serve you and to serve the people that you've put them around. God, I pray you would place ideas into their minds to bless their communities. And I pray all this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Thanks for listening. Finding God at Work is a production of Mission Central, a ministry based in Aurora, Illinois, dedicated to forming Christians for mission in everyday life. You can subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to this episode to get 10 minutes of teaching on faith and work every Tuesday and Thursday. To get resources to go deeper with each podcast series, read our blog, and get info about upcoming courses on faith in the workplace, go to our website, missioncentral.church.